So I don't know. It's like, I don't know if it's conditioning or what it is that makes me feel that way, but you know, you see James Bond, he puts on a suit, he looks fresh, right? He looks really cool rocking the suit. Sometimes I put on a suit and I'll go to an event and somebody comes up to me and says, "Excuse me, sir, can you bring my car around?" And I'm like, "What?" And then other times I've always liked like the cowboy look, right? All the classic dudes, right? Like James Dean, John Wayne, Marlon Brando, Clint Eastwood, right? They put on a cowboy hat and they look freaking dope, right? They look really cool. I like that look, right? So I put on a cowboy hat and I look like a stinking rodeo clown. It just doesn't work for me and I don't understand why. Is it my conditioning that makes me feel that way? I bought these glasses. They're supposed to be like Tony Stark. The ad says Tony Stark glasses, right? So I put my prescription on there. I get them ordered. I put them on. I look more like Tony Fart. I look like the fourth Run DMC member, the guy that was the photographer but didn't get into the group, so they let him hang around and take pictures. I think that was the Beatles. Oh, well, hello there, my waist level viewfinders. I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Louis Daylight's Photography. In this episode, we'll feature Erica once again. If you remember, Erica was featured in a previous video. She gets a rematch with the Mamiya RB67 Pro SD. We had some technical difficulties last time. I don't know if it was a light leak. I don't know if it was overexposed film. Whatever the case may be, she gets a second opportunity, so we bring her in again. We shoot 2 rolls with the Kodak Portra 400 at a 200 ISO setting. We wanted to punch it up, as the kids say on the street. We lure her in again for some digital shots with my workhorse Canon 5D Mark IV. Yeah, I know, there's way newer cameras, but if it ain't broke, what's the deal? We're also going to discuss the differences between shooting with strobes and shooting natural light, whether you're shooting with digital or you're shooting analog. I've yet to get there with the analog shooting with strobe lights, but we're going to get there soon. I promise. You'll see the difference between them and you'll decide which looks best. I'll discuss model selection and what role skin tones play in choosing the right film format or even the right settings for your digital camera. I know we're going to be covering a lot of information that may not be your interest. You might be here for the Mamiya RB67 Pro SD shots with medium format Portra 400 punched up to 200. So, if that's your interest, we're going to stop everything for you and show you the table of contents so you can fast forward. But if you're chilling on the couch with a nice hot cup of coffee or tea and you're looking to hang out for a few and experience the process, I promise it should be entertaining. If this is your first time visiting, now's your opportunity. I'd love it if you subscribed. Our little channel has been growing slowly, but we've only been around a couple of months, so we appreciate it if you be part of the tribe and subscribe.
Hey everyone, I'm Louis Daylights from Louis Daylights Photography, and today we're going to talk about some nerdy stuff.
We were actually in this very room right here when we took some shots that at the time I couldn't figure out what was going on. But after doing some research, I think what happened was that I had my settings incorrect. What it did was it was overexposed. So any little light that was hitting on the shot overexposed and caused streaks through the photos. It never happened again. It never happened before. So we moved on. I was really happy with Erica because we got to shoot at a grocery store. She was really happy. She wanted to do that. She was in charge of her outfits. She was in charge of her makeup. She took charge of the whole scenario and it was pretty awesome. But I really felt like we needed to do a little more work when it came to shooting with our medium format Mamiya RB67 Pro SD. So this is her rematch. This time around, summer's in full gear. I created a set in my backyard for Ari, one of the previous models that was in a previous video, and I decided I'd keep the setup for the summer. It's not as elaborate as a couple summers ago, but I created a set where there's an outdoor tropical shower scene and some other furniture pieces that are allowing for a little versatility so that when a client or a collaborator comes in, they can shoot. I try to work with as many different models and be intentional in choosing my collaborators. They come in all sizes, shapes, and colors, and I'm really pleased because when I found Erica, her big brown eyes and her fair complexion are really what I was targeting. She was bringing something to the table that she at the time didn't realize she was bringing. And man, when she looks into the camera, she's really telling you something. I really love her expressions, I love her poses, and her momentum is very quick on set. Very experienced with what she wants to wear, but I found out, as most models, they have a preference of how they like to look. Some of them want to look a little more tan than they are. Some want to look a little more fair, complexicated, fair complexion. Because it was my set and it was a collaboration, she gives me the freedom to basically do whatever I wanted, but she did have a request this time around. She had one bathing suit that she wanted to wear that was going to be a darker tone, and while shooting strobes, she was hoping that I could make her look a little more darker or a little more tanned in post. And I said, sure, I've got no problem with that. My little secret between you and me, I love her fair complexion. And really, she was chosen because of that combination. So this was our shoot. This is how it went. Here are some shots with strobes giving you that studio feel. Clean, crisp, upscale, very high end. Here you're gonna see that she's wearing the same outfit, but instead of using the strobes, I went with natural light. I shoot with somebody, I always try to do a combination of light settings. I like to have as many options as possible in post for anything that might turn up to be a better looking vibe, not only for the client, but for myself. If I shoot one way, I'm stuck with just that one way. So by playing with natural light as well as using strobes, I'm giving everyone better options and more versatility. Which do you like best? I know I prefer natural light. The only reason I got into strobes maybe 3-4 years ago was because I really wanted to open up my clientele to another area that I hadn't explored ever in the past. And by working with strobes, a high-end look will bring high-end clients. So I went that route. But personally, I'm a bigger fan of natural light. At the end of the day, it's really a matter of taste. The Mamiya RB67 Pro SD. Every shoot that I do, I get more and more familiar with using it, more comfortable using it, exploring. Now I'm even interested in getting more lenses. At first, I thought I wouldn't want one, but doing the research, I'm finding that I'm gonna need like a 180mm lens. That's supposed to be the equivalent to 85mm on a 35mm camera. In any case, I discovered something that was kind of no-brainer that I hadn't discovered in the past, or that I didn't know I wasn't aware of it, because this is the only Mamiya RB67 Pro SD I've ever owned. But the Pro SD was the last of the series of the Mamiya RB67s, and as part of the last one in 1990, when this one was released, it came out with the motorized back. The motorized back allows for automatic forwarding to the next frame when you pull the trigger to take a shot, but aside from that, mechanically with the motor, it advances your film when you first load it. It's actually really cool because the previous RB67s, you have to crank here on the side and then here on the back. But with the motorized back, it does it all for you. That's actually really cool. But aside from that, the motorized back has a 6x8cm frame. Most RB67 owners are getting 10 frames, and I was only getting 9, and I was like, what's going on here? I did not realize that the Mamiya RB67, prior to the motorized back version, the Pro SD, they all shoot in 6x7, and although that is pretty cool, the motorized back is a 6x8. Because it's a 6x8, I only have enough room in the roll of film, the medium format 120, to take 9 frames rather than 10. But it actually works out good for me because I post my stuff on Instagram and I always post in 3s. So 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9. You can buy a motorized back for your Mamiya RB67, even if it's not the Pro SD, I believe. And if you can, then that would give you a 6x8 frame rather than a 6x7, plus all the features on a motorized back. We were shooting with the Kodak Gold 200 for a few weeks, and if you saw my last video where we featured Sophia, we had a roll of this bad boy right here. I was happy with it. I thought it did a magnificent job. But now, because I've gotten even more practice with Sophia, I was able to come into this shoot with Erica a little more confident, and I said, let's go with the Portra 400. We're gonna punch it up to 200 and see what we get. Basically what happened is this: I went in to develop this Kodak Portra 400 that was punched up at 200. So I told the guy, hey, please run it in the machine at 200 because I punched it up and I wanted to get a more rich, overexposed kind of look. So the guy that worked there, not the owner, he said, yeah, sure, no problem, I'll put it in. I said, okay. So I came back an hour later. The owner of the shop told me that they ended up running the film at box speed, even though I had been watching content where people get to punch it up and they tell the guy at the developing place, hey, process this at 200 ISO because I didn't use box speed 400. I punched it up to 200. And they say, many different photographers online, that if you tell the person at the place that they'll run through the machine that way, and that way your pictures come out the way they're supposed to look when you punch up. If you don't tell them that, then you're not going to get that look. So I went in there all excited to get the guy to punch it up, and he was with another customer, and I was dealing with the guy that works with him, and he told me, yeah, we ran it. And I said, well, did you run it at 200 like I asked? Because I'm doing an experiment. It's going to be for my YouTube channel. And he's like, yeah, we ran it. I said, okay, yeah, you ran it. Did you run it at 200? So the owner, who was with another customer, he interrupts his conversation with that guy to turn to me and say, we ran it at box speed. And the reason we run it at box speed is because with medium format film, you have 2 to 3 stops of grace. Whether you punch up or you punch down, whatever the case may be, we don't need to run it a different way for you to get your desired look. So you're fine. He treated me like Tony Fart. He treated me like the 4th Run DMC member who was just a photographer and got to hang around with the group. but couldn't perform. Whatever, I don't know what his deal is, but he spoke to me that way, and I don't even know if what he's saying is true. Maybe you can leave a comment below. Is that true? Is that not true? I know that there's a more progressive, younger audience of photographers who believe that you can punch up or punch down 2 or even 3, but that it has to be processed that way. This guy says no. In any case, I got my pictures back and I really like how they look. The Kodak Portra 400 color was really nice. It did have a little bit of a purple hue out of the box when I scanned them. Really pleased with the results. I think the color out of the box is really what Portra 400 is all about. I've gotten a lot better at putting my settings the way they need to be in order to maximize the film. That was something that maybe 3 rolls ago I wasn't doing. So I really hope you enjoyed this process of my journey in getting more proficient with the Mamiya RB67 Pro SD, showing you my process of how I shoot digital using my strobes, showing you the differences between shooting natural light or with strobes, and just the beauty of natural light with the Mamiya RB67 Pro SD. I know that when this camera was designed or created, that it was designed for in-studio use using strobes, and that's something that I've yet to explore. I want to do a little more research and feel a little more confident before I make a video about it, because I don't know how I'm going to be able to do that properly. I have the meter that I bought, the Seconic. I'm excited to give that a try, but I don't know if I'm ready for that just yet. In any case, please, if you enjoy this content at all, subscribe, hit like. It'd be cool if you did that. So I appreciate you. God bless you guys. I love you. See you at the next episode.